Hello YouTube, my name is Isabella and today I'm going to be doing a spoiler-free review for Bloodwitch by Susan Dennard. I don't know if I'm going to be able to hold this up the whole time. That work? I feel like that kind of works. We're going to stick with it, but this is going to be an extremely quick review of a couple brief thoughts I had while reading Bloodwitch 2 months ago. We're going to discuss it because I'm about to start Witch Shadow and there's just something in me, the completionist in me, would not be cool with having a review for books 1, 2, and 4 and not 3. So we're going to do this really fast and deal with this setup today because I have to go to work in like a half hour, so we're doing this really quick. Bloodwitch is the third book in the Witchlands series, Truthwitch being the first book. Truthwitch follows two witches, Safi and Isolde. Safi is a truth witch, which she can discern truth from lie, which is an incredibly coveted and rare magical ability, so she kind of has to keep her magic a secret so that her life isn't in danger. And Isolde, her best friend, is a thread witch. She can see the threads that bind people to one another. And at the beginning of the first book, they have a heist that goes like incredibly wrong and find themselves on the run from like multiple sources of people, just trying to survive one day at a time. Kind of had a weird experience reading this book. Like I mentioned before, read it a few months ago. I was reading it in May and was loving it the whole time, and like the last 70 pages of it, absolutely dying from everything that was like being revealed from it. Please excuse if the angle just changed. I kind of just hit my thing, but I was loving it so much, and I had literally 3 pages left. Then I got a call from my boss saying, hey, just so you know, you've been exposed to someone you directly work with who has COVID, go quarantine. So there was a lot of panic involved in that part of my life. Luckily, everything was okay and cleared up, and I never got it, but it was very stressful. Honestly, it's kind of like a cyclical experience now, because at that point in time, it was still not possible for me to get any vaccines. And now I have had both of my shots as of a few days ago. So kind of full circle moment, which is really nice. And we're going to get into the chat before I literally run out of time. I have been absolutely adoring this series pretty much from the start. I think it is my favorite ongoing young adult series at this point in time. And I think Susan Dennard is just proving what you can do with the series, even when it's young adult, if you give the author the space to do so. The ability to write multiple books in the series. This is going to be a 6-book series with the novella. I also just found out that it's not 6 books plus the novella, it's 6 books including the novella. That kind of hurt me because I thought we were gonna have another book in the series, and we're not. I absolutely love this series because of the characters. I think the plot is really fun, but it's the characters I read these stories for, the relationships that they form with one another, that I think is so striking. So it just makes sense to me to break it down via character. But overall, I really adored the direction of this specific story. It felt like there were a lot of arcs not completed, but like the first stage of characters' arcs were really completed and satisfying. Some stuff was like really upsetting as well, but everything felt incredibly earned. I really like all the different plot threads that have been coming together. I really like that after reading Sight Witch, you really kind of have an idea in which things might be going and like the huge consequences of certain things. And I just like how much grander the story itself is feeling. A lot more epic scale than what we were originally getting, but it was always sort of hinted to. I just have been really enjoying the plot, although sometimes when there, I think, reveals are happening, I don't know if I entirely catch what is supposed to be going on, but that's also just because I'm a dummy and sometimes don't pick up on those things. From here on out, it is definitely going to be filled with spoilers. There's just no way for me to avoid that. Just as an FYI, we're going to start with the title character. our lovely witch, Bloodwitch, Adawan. I love him. His arc here, I think, honestly was a thing of beauty. I loved how everything came together. I loved it. I found it to be so incredibly satisfying. Over the course of the story, I liked him sort of begrudgingly sort of accept Iseult and Owl. We get a lot more context into like his background, backstory, and then just at the end when he decided, nope, I can't do it anymore. She's the one I'm putting my faith in. I was like so happy, so thrilled, and like just so on board. Not gonna lie, I did want to kill him throughout the beginning portion of it, or like when they had to split off. I was so annoyed because I was like, damn it, are we really gonna have to have them split off and then them not see each other throughout the rest of the series, and like final book everything comes together? That's not what we're getting. But they, at the end of the book, still are apart, and that kind of deeply irritates me, but it's fine. I guess it's fine. I just like how he chose his path in this. He no longer is set on a course in which he's being told what to do. He chose his path, and his path is Iseult. Climactic end bits with them literally had my heart stopped. It was so dramatic, but I also so loved it. So Iseult is like my tried and true, I think my favorite character of the series. Not entirely sure, but I absolutely love her. I spent a great amount of time really enjoying the two of them, Adawan and Iseult's interactions throughout the course of the story, but I just like her continual strength and resilience and faith that she'll get to be back with Safi, and her constant fight to get her thread sister. I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but I'm so happy that we got to see their brief reunion in the ending and that they are together now. I don't know if they'll stay together, but it's been killing me that they've been apart for so long, because their friendship is the thing that initially drew me so much to the story. But I love Iseult. I loved her romantic development with him. I love how they finally like acknowledge each other and are like, yeah, I'm sticking with you. I have to breeze really, really fast through the rest of these because I have to leave really soon. But Safi, her plot I wasn't as thrilled with in the beginning because I just didn't quite understand where it was going. But as we went throughout the story, I really enjoyed it. I liked her relationship with Vanessa. I like her acknowledging that the people she's looked up to and taught her so much, her sort of recognizing that they aren't good people, or that their sort of path has sort of been maybe co-opted or coerced and mutated from their original goals, and her deliberately choosing against them, I thought was really, really satisfying. She could recognize, and even though it broke her heart, she knew what she was doing was right, saving Vanessa and turning against them. I really, really appreciated it. It kills me that her like magic isn't quite working. I hope that is something that gets fixed, because I absolutely hate when a character loses their power. I remember I was really not thrilled with Adawan's power possibly not working, because I don't love that as a plot point. It always really bums me out, and I absolutely love that her and Iseult are together again, possibly in a bad situation, but they're together, and hopefully they stick together, because it'll kill me if they are apart. So Merrick's storyline was just an all-around bummer. I think he is Susan Dennard's punching bag. I don't know if she likes him as a character or hates him, because God, did she put him through the ringer. Anytime his chapters would come up and he was being tortured by the puppeteer, I was like, just like, ugh, didn't want to read it, because he was being like full on tortured and it was pretty brutal. My one critique is maybe those things could have been shortened up, or less of his chapters, because occasionally it got repetitive. I also really love that he got to see Safi like really briefly in the like end point. There were so many like reveals and things that happened in like the last 50 to 75 pages that it was a lot, and some of it again hasn't stuck with me because of the trauma I experienced literally right after or right before finishing the story. Poor punching bag is now stuck in a thing of ice with his buddy, which was also really, really sad. I'm interested to see if he'll be broken out of that or if he just doesn't have a perspective. I'm not gonna lie, I don't necessarily want to see him like suffering in the ice and just being stuck there like thinking as a perspective, but we will see. I will see fairly soon. And Vivia is the last plot thread I'm going to discuss because I really have started to come around to her. When she was first introduced, I wasn't quite sold on her as a character, but her struggle, I think, is really compelling. And watching her slowly come into her own and realize that she is essentially the product of manipulation and actually actively working against her father, who sucks, by the way. God, does he suck. I really thought her arc, again, compelling, loved the development, really interested in the vibe she has going with Vanessa. I wish we got a little bit more from her friend or the guard, Styx. I felt like she was out of the story. I also love like the princess and the guard sort of dynamic, so hopefully she also gets rescued, but I don't think so. I think she's also going to be stuck there for quite a while because of the whole like paladins thing, which, to be honest, for a good chunk of this book I didn't quite remember what it meant because I had read Sight Witch like in December of last year, but I've kind of done a refresher now. And on Susan Dennard's website, she said confirmed paladins at the end of that book are Cullen, Styx, and Owl. And I think there are 12 total paladins. I don't know if it's just 6 of like the good or the bad guys that are being reincarnated, or if they need 12 in total and like will do battle. Don't know. I'm interested to see. I've seen a lot of really good reviews for Witch Shadow and that there's like a lot of reveals at the end. I've seen people saying they want to go back and reread the whole thing like immediately. So the more I talk about it, the more I'm getting excited. And the more I'm convinced, I'm pretty sure I'll be picking up Witch Shadow like as my very next read. Anyway, I was super thrilled with Bloodwitch. I know I just kind of talked about the characters, but honestly, that's all I really care about at this point in time. I also love the plot, but I think just Susan Dennard's character work is like top tier, next level. I gave Bloodwitch 5 stars. I'm assuming if you stayed this long, you have read the series, but I'd love to chat all things Witchlands in the comments down below if you are so inclined. But as always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you again later. Bye.